well, contrasting, I was going to say contrasting, but not really, but because both these teams find themselves in the bottom half of the table. It's more precarious, of course, for Southampton, who are actually bottom of the league with just 5 points from 15 games. As for Tottenham, they are 12th in the table. The Spurs manager, Ange is currently experiencing some heat as his side are winless in 5 in all competitions since that amazing 4-0 victory at Manchester City. They are just one league defeat away from suffering 15 losses for the second straight calendar year. Not since 2004 have they suffered that. Ahead of this one, the Spurs boss has said there are simply no time for any excuses. His team must perform.
I've got no time for that sort of stuff anymore. We're in a fight here, you know. Like we're in a fight. I'm not going to go around worrying about people's bruised egos. Yeah, this football club, you know, we want to achieve things. We want to be successful, and we're down to the bare bones in players. I'm not going to, you know, if there's somebody in that dressing room who's fit, able to contribute, that feels like he needs something extra in this moment, he's probably not the right type. Like, I need guys who, and we had some last night, who, you know, understand the situation we're in. We've got 15 fit players. In some positions, we've only got 2 players. So I'm not going to go around trying to get extra out of people. If they don't give extra right now, well, it kind of gives me an indication of where they're at.
Interesting, that.
Go on.
Do you know what really interests me is, you know, like sometimes with players, you hear people say, he needs an arm around his shoulder, you know, and I get it. And I get the sense there that Ange Postecoglou is looking at Timo Werner and thinking, you're getting no arm around the shoulder. You're getting a right, you know, you're going to get a right verbal rollicking from me. Just to see how you react.
Okay, because maybe he's done the arm around the shoulder and it hasn't worked.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, just go, right, I'm going to give you how I see it and what's happened and how you've played, and you're going to have to take it. And I want to see a response. Oh, that's what he's thinking in his head, because the arm around the shoulder might have already happened and it hasn't made any difference to him at all.
Obviously, those Timo Werner comments came after their 1-1 draw with Rangers in the Europa League in midweek, where he certainly called him out as his performance not being up to standard. Certainly.
And it wasn't, by the way.
No, I remember. Well, yes, you said that yesterday. And as a result, he was hooked at half-time with Dejan Kulusevski coming on to replace him, who actually scored that equaliser at Ibrox. Cass, if you look at the situation of Spurs and where they are in the table, then 12th, as I've already mentioned, they've lost 7 games. Yeah. Barring the 3 teams in the relegation zone, there's only one other side that have lost more than them, and that is Leicester, with 8 defeats. It's quite remarkable. They've lost that many games.
Yeah, they've lost a lot. And do you know what we've talked about in recent weeks? We talked about how congested the top end in the Champions League football is. There's going to be sackings pretty soon when owners or chairmen realise they can't make Champions League football. Yeah. You know, and there's going to be some of them in there, and Ange is one of them, if they don't get, you know, because that is the ultimate goal at the start of the season for certain teams, is you've got to make the Champions League. And if you get better than that, that's overachieving. You know, but Tottenham at the moment, imagine, look at the week they've got. They've got a big game in the Cup in midweek, okay? They got that, and they got Liverpool next weekend.
Yeah, they've got Man United, haven't they, in the Cup?
Man United in the Cup, Liverpool
and after that, they've got Forest on Boxing Day.
So it's a huge time for them. The last thing he'll think about is if they go to St Mary's, and get turned over.
Well, it does seem unthinkable because of the form that Southampton are in. But just finally on Spurs, are they sort of masters of their own downfall? I mean, 2-0 up against Chelsea. Yeah. To lose that 4-3 like they did. Yeah. Is that part of it, of a self-implosion?
Well, I've seen them 2 or 3 times live, and they've been really good the time I've seen them. I've said all along this season they're not a 90-minute team. And the game I went against West Ham, where they were second half, were brilliant, and I've seen them do that. They were brilliant against Chelsea there was 2 individual mistakes by Cucurella that made a massive difference, but generally, Nat, they don't have a 90-minute performance. I think the one you could say is either Man United away or City. Yeah. Probably them 2 out of all the games they've played, they've looked dangerous all game. Yeah. But there's lots of games where they've been good and then have really poor periods in a game.
Interestingly, these two sides are managed by two individuals who are so hell-bent on the way they play and are not looking to change it in any way, which is, again, part of their downfall, perhaps.
Yeah.
Russell Martin, of course, has been speaking about his side start to this season, and in particular has just highlighted, their poor record, which season with just 5 points so far.
We shouldn't be on the points we are. It's incredibly hurtful and embarrassing that we're only on 5 points. We should have more. But there's been a few too many mistakes, and there's been a few too many moments we haven't managed well, and disappointments in games and setbacks. So we have to keep trying to grow as a group, grow individually, prepare the players for them moments when it's tough and what to do, and find ways to cope and manage emotionally.
I mean, it might be no surprise to hear this, that Southampton are the fourth side to have 5 or fewer points after 15 games in a Premier League season. No side has survived after that record. He mentioned there, mistakes that they've made. Well, they've made 10 errors leading to goals in the Premier League this season. That's more than any other side. And it's something we've spoken about a lot, like many have, about that insistency to play out from the back, which often, when they've got a high-pressing team, leads to mistakes, leads to goals.
Yeah, well, look, even the greatest managers in the game have changed tactics or formations to win football matches. Sometimes in-game management.
Yeah.
So I don't get the idea of just stay with what we do all the time.
Yeah, I don't get plan A. If plan A doesn't work, stick with plan A.
No, I don't
get it.
And there's times in games where you have to make certain changes because they might be getting a bit of momentum, the opposition. You're trying to just stop them getting that, getting going in a game, because sometimes they were up 2-0 and Chelsea gifted them 2 goals. It wasn't like Chelsea had played really, really well at that time. They just gifted 2 goals, and with that it gets to 2-0. Now, okay, Chelsea reply quite quickly, but there's some games that you're 70 minutes, you're winning 1-0, or, you don't have to win 3-0. Just make sure they don't score. I don't get this obsession with it has to be this only way of playing the whole time. I remember watching Barcelona turn a game against PSG around when they lost 4-0 away and they won 6-1. And the PSG team played the same way all the time. And it cost Unai Emery's job, and it cost them their place in the semi-final or something, or the final of the Champions League. I remember thinking that all they had to do is suffocate the game. That means don't keep saying to everyone, get in forward positions. Just make sure you pick up a player, a defender or a fullback when they're attacking. Stay with them. Make it hard.
Well, obviously Southampton have found this season some fixtures where they have been ahead. The one that stands out is that Southampton-Ipswich draw. If you remember, they scored really early on, Southampton, and then conceded that 90th minute Sam Morsey equaliser. But that is a game where you feel, and when you're heading towards full time, you've got to shut up shop. Shouldn't be any sort of playing out from the back, all that sort of stuff. But Russell Martin has been insistent. This is how he wants to play, which I think, like you mentioned there, the sign of a great manager is versatility in how you play. I would have thought.
And seeing danger, and don't give anybody a present in the Premier League because you'll get punished.
Yeah.
And they do that so often, and that's why he said about the points, it's embarrassing, the points tally they've got. They could. I agree with him. They should have more. But when you're giving away goals at a regular basis, week in, week out, and the goalkeepers are passing 5-yard balls into players with their back to the play, it's like, really?
Well, the Premier League lowest points tally at 11, wasn't it, for Derby?
Yeah, I was going to say Derby County, yeah.
6 more points and they'll at least equal that. It's just whether they can get that. We will find out later on tonight when they host Spurs then at St Mary's live on talkSPORT.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.